Hey guys, this is Chris Fayte with Cheat the Game coming back at you. Today I'm going to be taking a look and continuing on with our Compare Out series. And today we're going to learn how to use the stack when we can't really find a compare in the dissect data or in the registries themselves. We can also look onto the stack, CPU stack, and see if we can find out good compares there. Today that's what we're going to do, and this is based off a game that my friend Agent Luck had told me about, the Crusaders of the Lost Idols. Now it is an online game, but the values are stored client side, but the game saves online as well, and it's currently in its beta stages now, which means that they're going to be doing some massive updates to it and things. So everything you're seeing here probably are not going to be the same when the game is completed, so keep that in mind also. But hopefully we can still look up these values the same way. If they do decide to make the value server-sided, then this method's not going to work at all. But today we're just going to be looking at the gold value. Now, Agent Luck has already made a video for me on that because I was just having major difficulty in finding it. So I asked him to please make me a video on what he did to find it, and real good method. And he's also the one that helped me out with the DN Spy tutorial, and it was basically because of him that lesson came out. So, and that's what we do over at CTG. We all teach each other. We all teach each other. We all learn from each other. And like I say, I learn just as much from you guys as y'all do from me. So, that's what we're doing. I'm still learning too. So, and what I'm going to do is, while I'm bringing everything up, I'm going to go ahead and put on his video on how he found the gold value in this game. It is on a double value, and the internal value does not correlate with the graphical values. Another one of those type things. So it does require some trial and error in it. So he does it brilliantly. So his is way better than I could do, and I'm just going to go ahead and show his. So once that is finished, we're going to take that gold value and then we're going to make a script out of it, and you'll see that it's going through an opcode where thousands of addresses are going to it. But we're going to see if we can do some multi-compares on the stack to separate out our gold from all the other addresses. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, and we're back, and as you saw how he located the gold value, what I did is I went ahead and found the gold value his way, and it works brilliantly. And what I did is I went and found pointers. Now, this is still the early stages of testing out pointers. I don't know if these are stable or not, but really the only reason I did that is because I know that they're going through an opcode that is just being shared with thousands of addresses, and instead of going there back tracing to maybe a source point, you know, we can still see if we can maybe find a way to compare it out, if that's all we're really wanting to hack in the game, which you know, me personally, you know, hacking the gold, you can pretty much build up your character as high as you want to, very quickly. You can get just about everything, and to me that's sufficient. But you know, if you want to hack more stuff in there, then more than likely that those other things are going through that opcode as well. So keep that in mind also. But you know, this is just to learn about stat compare. And the last time I showed you, and I will hook or paste that video in the upper right hand corner where I showed you how to use the registries to compare when you can't find any suitable compare in the dissect data, and that'll be available. Now the first thing I want to do is, of course, we got to find the opcode, but when we go to write our script, the very first thing we want to do when we want to compare out, and we know we got tons and tons of addresses to compare out, we want to do an injection copy. Now, if you don't understand what an injection copy is, I will link that video also up here in the upper right hand corner. I describe it step by step, but it's another way for Cheat Engine to be able to find your address that you're looking for. But in this particular case, we need it to make sure that all the other addresses are being weeded out with our compares, and that's what we're using the injection copy for in this particular case. Alright, so we're going to do that, and like I say, those videos are up there. I go over each of those step by step. You'll fully understand what I'm doing here, because I'm not going to go over things I've already taught, and I'm just going to kind of quickly do it, but I will describe what I'm doing as I'm doing it, so you may still pick it up if you're not entirely sure what injection copies are. Okay, but let's get to the game. Let's make sure I got it attached first. There we go. We're just going to go ahead and start the objective, and automatically we start. And we start at 0, so that's fine. So let's go ahead and grab a few and have our pointer set. And that's all we really need right now. And as you see, these two down here are still working. The top ones aren't any good. And I apologize if the game music is a little too loud. I do have some bleed through over to the microphone. I'll do my best to try to edit it where the voice is a little bit louder, but if I can't, I'm sorry. Well, we're going to go ahead and pause the game. You're allowed 5 minutes. Like I say, this is online, so we got to just keep pausing it here and there. I'm just going to find out what accesses the address. Alright. And let's collect some more gold. That way it'll bring up just about everything. There we go. Now we can take a look, see everything that's going on with this address. We can see 2 places that are writing to it, but however, I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go ahead and send the value I want through to all these others up here. So to me that's better, but I only want it to do it when it's actually being written to, not something that's constantly accessing it. That'll help me out with the injection copy as well in this particular instance. So let's go to the disassembler, and we can see as soon as we put the debugger on it, find out what addresses this instruction accesses. And we want to go ahead and put it on double. We know that we're working with a double value, and that's what gold is in this game. And you can see many addresses are popping up. And we did increase our gold, so now our gold is in there as well. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I don't need that anymore. And what I need to do is I just need to find this address in all this mess of madness here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I know we're looking for a 2.6. I just look at all my 2.6s and see if that's the correlating address. That's not it. And that's it right there. Okay, so you remember in the last lesson, we take the address we want to compare out. And we right click on it and show registry states, which I just did, and we want to compare registries first, but we'll see that all these change and they're just not good to use. So what I like to do is bring the one I want separated out over to the far left, and we're going to click on this S button. That S stands for stack view. Okay, and here is our stack view right here. And these are all the values that are on the stack at that particular moment in time when that opcode is being run. Okay? And basically we do it the same way as we would look at for registries or in the dissect data. We're gonna take a screen print of all this versus some different addresses, and we're gonna just take a screen print of it, put it in Paint, take the game down, and do this all over again. And then we're going to compare the two and see which values stay the same, which are different from other addresses, the same way you would in dissect data. Nothing different. So I'm going to get something that is related to it also, because those will be harder to find a compare for. So I'm going to show register state, and this is an address I want to compare out. And then I'm just going to choose miscellaneous addresses that are different, and just get maybe a couple of them. Now you may have to do this several times. Now this can be very tedious. It can take you a long time. Sometimes it could take you, a whole day or even days of doing this to find a good compare that will weed out all the addresses. That's why we recommend doing other type methods as well first, but this is like a last resort if you want to compare out addresses. And let me just move these out of the way. And what I want to do is I want to put all these stack compares kind of close together, and I always want to remember the one I'm needing separated out. This is the stack and all the values that were on the stack when it wrote to my address, my gold address. And these are what were on the stack when it wrote to these other addresses. Okay, the stack is constantly adding values, taking away values, putting values on there, pointers, you name it. It's just got all kind of madness going on, and it happens very, very fast, very, very rapidly. Alright, and all three of these stack views represent the addresses we want to compare out, and that's all we really want to do right now. We want to remember this is the one we want separated out from all of these right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a screen print, and I'm going to bring up Paint, and we're going to Control V it just like that, and that way we can take a look at it later. And that's all we really need at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I need to take the game all the way back down, bring it all the way back up, and redo all this again. So I'm going to do that off camera. I'm just going to do the exact same thing you just saw, just a new copy of it from a game that's re-brought back up from scratch. And I'm doing the exact same thing. So I'll be right back with you once I completed that. Okay, I kind of thought better of it that people might need to see this to know that this is actually a second time that I'm doing it. As you can see, I brought the game back up, and I finally figured out how to toggle the music on and off. I'm sorry I didn't see that the first time. I apologize. So forgive the bleed through of the music on the last segment. But here you can see that the address has changed, but this is our goal value. And what I'm going to do is the same exact thing, but it's okay if you want to see it. If you want to bypass this, that's totally fine. I get it. But that's all I'm doing, is just doing the exact same thing because I need some kind of way to compare all those out. And we're going to go to the same exact opcode. We can go ahead and stop that. And here's the same exact opcode. As you can see, these are dynamically allocated. All these instructions, these are not static. So even these addresses will be different. So we do have to use an AOB scan for that. We won't be able to just use an address because it'll be at a different address next time. So the same thing we just did. We want to find our gold in the midst of all this, and this is where we're going to do our separation again with the stack view. So let's just go ahead and collect some gold. Boom, there we go, that's all we needed. Go ahead and press stop, and let's make sure we remember what we're at 3 right now, and we end in 3, 4, 5, 8. I believe we can find that. So just look for 3s and just check them. And here we go again. You see those 3 again together, and 3, 4, 5, 8. Here is our gold value. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Show register states. Bring it all the way over to the left. And here's our stack view. Just put them a little closer together. And we're just going to get miscellaneous addresses. I like getting something closely related to it as well, because I need to separate it out also. We're going to just do the same thing. And let's just get some miscellaneous addresses just up here. Maybe something a little different than our address, like the 1, 2, 3 right there. Register states. Let's bring that down here. And let's just grab one more for good measure. Let's just go down the list a little bit. And we'll just grab one of these 144s here. And bring that close together. And let's just kind of put them together like that, just so we can see them a little better. Now the first thing we want to do is bring up our paint like so. The first thing I want to do is what I do is I just compare the first 2 together. I want to find anything that would be alike in this column first. If there's anything different, we can't use it, period. So there's no sense of comparing out with the rest, all right? We need to find any value that stayed the same. We see ABP, which is the base pointer, 18 did not, this did not, this, and we just keep going down. We see here, EBP -4 stayed the same. Let's bring that back over. If I click on it, it'll make it go away. EBP -4, EBP -4, both are the value of 0. So that's a possibility. So what I do is I just copy the address, bring up a notepad. I'm going to go ahead and paste it on there. Also the value. Oh, I should have just copied the line. I'm sorry. Let's just do the whole line. There we go. That's all we really need right there. And let's look for more. We want to go ahead and look for more so we can test out a few of them. We'll possibly have to do multi-compares. So we want to keep looking down. We see C is the same. However, it's the same for just about all of these, so we can't use that one. We see 18 is the same. That is different, but however, one of them is still 0. So, and that's what I'm doing. I'm seeing what's the same first. What value stayed the same, and then I'm comparing with the others. And you also want to compare them here as well. You can see that -4 is not different here. That may not be a good one to use, but we, being the stat, will possibly have to use multi-compare. So if we compare out a lot of addresses with -4, let's go ahead and do that. And what I want to do is go down here to -C. That one really stands out to me, -2. And what I notice here, that's also a -2. But what I also notice is that every one of these are different on all of these. That 6C looks like a really, really good one. You can see the difference. 6C, here's the, let me bring this over, just cover up the other. This is the first time we did it. This 6C is the value of 2. That's the float value of 2, but this is an integer 2, so that will be different. 6C is a pointer address here, and is a pointer address here, so they're all different, and these are completely different addresses. 6C for us is still at a 2, 0, and then we have 70, 70. all are different. I'm sorry, 6C. Here's one, 6C. Here's another pointer. So those right now are the two I want to try, and it's probably a good idea to grab you a few more if you can, but I'm not going to do that. I've already tested these, and I already know. Oops, my bad. I keep forgetting you only have a certain amount of time. That's fine. That's fine. So we got another 5 minutes. All right, but I've already tested these and know that these are the two best, you know, with trial and error. But we're going to pretend like we don't know that right now. Let's just get rid of these. So we got the information we need to go ahead and start with a script. Now, a lot of times you're going to have to keep going back to this method, keeping the compares you already have and just adding more compares to it. You could have up to 10 compares sometimes, depending on how many addresses there are. And hey, sometimes that happens. But as long as those values are staying the same for the address you want to compare out, you can put as many as you want in there. Sometimes that's the best way. Sometimes that's the easiest way, and it still works. It just can be tedious. So what we want to do is go ahead and do an AOB injection. And we're just going to call this gold 1. Just so we know what we're doing in this script. And it found us a good array of bytes. We're also going to discuss AOB scan region, but we'll do that at a later time. I just don't want to confuse anybody right now. The very first thing we need to do is our injection copy, and this just helps us to see that it does find the address. We don't want to go manipulating values until we know it's only going to be producing our address and no others. Because if we start changing all these other values or these other address values, we could be crashing our game a lot, and it just gets very frustrating. So use an injection copy first. An injection copy will not crash the game. And you can see if the address stays the same or changes a lot. Okay? Alright. So let's make up a name for this, and we'll just call this we'll just call this gold Addy. How's that? Let me just copy this down here, and we also want to register a symbol because we are using it on the cheat table itself, which is outside of the script. So we'll register a symbol, and we'll just paste that here, and make sure that we go ahead and put in all our information when we disable the script. There we go. And just down here, somewhere out of the way where it's not interfering with code execution, we're going to put our name for gold Addy, and it will assign it a location in new min for us. We'll put declare dword at 0 because we're going to have EAX moved into it. First thing we need to do is go ahead and add our first compare. Now we're just going to add one right now because I want to show you. Okay. So we know from the stack that that was EBP, right? It was the EBP, the base pointer minus offset 04. Okay. And we've discussed offsets and base registries. The base registry here is a specific address, and the address we're wanting that has this value stored at it, which is just a 0, is actually behind it. It's underneath it because the base address is actually a higher address than the one we're needing. So we're going to CMP, and with the brackets, that means we want the value that's stored at the address we're looking for. We're going to put EBP minus 04. And what value do we want it to compare to? We want it to compare to that 0. You can put it all 8 if you want to. You just put it 0. It don't matter. And we want to put jump if not equal to code. So any address where the stack value at this location is not 0 is going to jump. Same thing as in dissect data structure. What values were being stored at those locations when that address was written to? Okay. And 0 was being stored in that address when our goal was written to, but none of the others were. Or most of the others were. That's what we found out. And then right underneath it, so they're all going to be jumping to code, so they're automatically going to be coming here. and they're going to bypass what we put here, which I want moved into our gold addy location. I want the base of EAX. So EAX is going to move the base address, which will be our base of our gold address. Okay, we know we need to add an 18 to it later, but we'll do that in just a second. So right now, that's all we're going to do. That's it. We need to go test it. I need to get getting killed over and over again. All these devs, you gotta love them. 5 minutes. Alright, so let's go ahead and close that. And here is our script. And we're going to go ahead and put this as gold test script. Put it as a test to know that we're still working with it. Not ready to give out to people yet. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and turn that on. And what we want to do is grab our symbol that we use for our injection copy, which was in the brackets, gold addy plus 18. Remember, our gold value is a double, and we can go ahead and put in the description gold address, and we're going to put that up here, and we want to keep monitoring it. Okay, so remember, it was that opcode, or the opcode is only being accessed with our gold when our gold is actually written to. It's not constantly writing to our gold at that location. So what we're going to do is just collect some more gold, and you see we have things popping up. But as you see it changing. It finally did go to our gold, but we saw another address pop up in there. That means that we still need to compare out. We only want to see our gold address all the time. You see, there's another address that popped up. So it's still not good enough to write a script for. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to save what I got and I'll be right back with you. Okay, sorry about that. I want to go ahead and save that information. So we know that this is still, we see with our injection copy, the address is still, you know, other addresses are going through or slipping by our compare. So we need another compare in there as well. This is known as a multi-compare script. So we need to weed out those addresses as well. And EBP plus 6C should weed out those other addresses also. Like I say, this comes with trial and error. I can't really record that because it could take hours, and it did take me like about 2 or 3 hours to try, to trial and error it till I found a good one that actually worked to separate out all of them. And you actually do need both of these compares to separate all those other addresses. Sometimes, and I've been in games where I have done up to 10 compares before I was able to. I think that was in Dragon Age Inquisition. And but yeah, it still worked, and you can do that too. Like I say, this is a method that you may want to use like a last resort, but it is a method you can use. You may want to try some back tracing. Just depends on your knowledge of assembly. If you don't have that much knowledge of assembly, this might be the better route to take. There's always so many different ways you can do things. Okay, so what we do is we go ahead and put our next compare in there, and we know that the value there was, what was it? It was 2, and only our gold, when our gold address was written to, is 2 being stored at this location on the stack. Okay, so we're just going to put in 02, jump if not equal to code, and we'll go back and test it again. Like I say, this is all trial and error, and you want to keep going till no addresses. You can. What I do is I go through a couple of levels, and if I don't see any more addresses appear, then I start writing my script, or like Infinite Gold or whatever. And you see, here's our address popped up, and now it's where we want to monitor it. We want to make sure that no other addresses go through it whatsoever. And that's the way you go about it. And like I say, I'll go through about 2 or 3 levels and making sure that this is not fluctuating at all. It's just staying at my goal. Then that's when I'll start writing a script. So I go back to it, and basically what we want to do now, we're dealing with a double value, and we see how the values are stored. 8.6 is actually equal to 86 on here, but the values are really funky. So what I do is now I'm going to add a label, and basically it's similar to an injection copy. I'm just storing a double value at a location, and I'm going to use the symbol to move the value into our gold address. So I'm just going to call this gold double. This is for tutorial purposes. Now I do not need to register a symbol for this because I'm not using this outside of the script. I had to register a symbol for this one because I'm using it right here, which is outside of the script. But as long as you use your symbols inside the script, you don't need to register a symbol for it. Okay? I hope that don't confuse anyone. So down here, also in new mem, I'm just going to put gold double, and all this is doing is holding the value. I put declare a keyword. A double is a quad word, which means the whole value takes up 2 4-byte addresses. So that's the reason that's called double, because it needs 2 addresses to store a value. All right. And it's real easy, and you can just put and just experiment with values. And what I did was 99.999, like that. Okay, sorry about that, guys. A little technical difficulty there. But like I was saying, that's the reason that it is called a double, because it needs 2 addresses to actually store the value. It's actually that long. So. And we'll get into that later, and we discuss doubles. And Stephen Chapman's discussed doubles also. So please go over to his channel. Great information over there. Okay. Alright, so now that we got a symbol assigned, and basically what will happen is when we turn our code on, Cheat Engine is going to assign this a spot in our new mem location, and it's going to store our double value of this right here, but it'll be in double form. So now all we need to do is just add it to our script. So we want to add it up here after our compares and not down here. Okay, we only want it affecting our gold, not other addresses. So what I do is I'm going to move a keyword into XMM0, and what double do I want in there? I want this right here that I stored. Okay, and we'll discuss the difference between move SS, move Q, and all that stuff at a later date. And just make this video too long. I want to have a whole separate lesson, and we're going to discuss the XMM registry, but there's actually 4 locations in an XMM registry, and this basically tells them which one to use. Okay, so, but we'll discuss that later, so I don't want to get anybody confused, but right now we need to use this because that's where the gold is being stored in the XMM registry. Okay, so I'm sorry, let's go ahead and put in our symbol gold double. So that just tells Cheat Engine we want the value that you stored here at this address moved into XMMO registry, and then when it gets to this opcode, we just want that value moved into our gold address. Simple enough, right? And it does that by all the compares. Just no different than separating your heroes and enemies with health. Okay, here's our infinite health. We're just moving it like a health cap into it, and it's writing. All our enemies are just jumping straight to here, and it's writing whatever XMMO is carrying for them. Okay, no different than that. And that's basically it. So let's go ahead and turn that on. We want to pay close attention to it. Let's move this over so we can kind of see what's going on with it a little better. Oh, we only got 25 seconds. So remember, this only writes to our address when we actually collect the gold. So let's go ahead and do it. Take a look at our gold value now. It's going up really fast. Take a look. We're just getting buku's amounts of gold, and it's really infinite. We're already up to a billion, trillion, quadrillion. And that'll pretty much, you know, you can pretty much turn it off from there, because that'll buy you everything. I mean, you take a look, you can buy the best characters, 23.99 quadrillion. This guy here. And you can just have a blast, and you can just upgrade your guy all the way. you got pretty much infinite money. It's still going up. So I can actually turn this off now. I can enjoy the rest of the game. If I need more infinite gold later, I can actually put, we could actually put a flag on it. And I'll post that link for you if you want to put a flag on it. We just put another compare in there to only turn on gold when we mash the button. But I'm not going to do that here. Okay. But that's pretty much it. And that's how you can use the stack. And I just did a condensed version of it. You really need to do a lot more trial and error than what you saw, and believe me, it took me a couple hours to find those compares, trial and error correctly, and be able to present it to you guys. So, but I just wanted to show you how to go about it, and that is another way you can compare out when you're not finding anything in dissect data, you're not seeing anything in that registry that you can use. You can revert to the stack. Usually you can find some good ones there, so that's another way. Guys, come over and join us over at the Facebook channel, also at our Discord site. The links will be down there in the description. Also our website, the link will be down there in the description. We're still working on the website, and hopefully we can have it bustling with activity pretty soon. So we need your help in doing that. So come on over, you can get on the ground floor of it. I need some mods over there. If you're interested, come let us know. We'll definitely consider it. But we want to go ahead and get that up and running. I want to go ahead and thank Agent Luck again for his help with this video. Thank you for the video you contributed in helping me locate this value also. So this is every bit as much his lesson as it is mine, and I want to thank you so much for that. Like I say, we all learn together, we all help each other out, and we all get stronger in learning together as well, myself included. I learn a lot from you guys. I also want to go ahead and thank my partners. These guys are the reason that Cheat the Game still exists and is existing right now at the moment. If it wasn't for them, Cheat the Game would have went defunct a while back ago. So you can thank these guys right here that it's happening. They get wonderful perks every month. This month we gave them a coupon that was donated by a great mod over at our Discord channel, Exploit Devs. He was able to get a hold of coupons that allowed members to have free expert master classes in Photoshop, and these are for a limited time, but these were given free to all donators, all partners. And thank you guys. That's this month's perk. If you want to get in on these perks, we got some great ones coming out in the future also. I give them out once a month, and they only go to donators and partners, and I try to get the best I can find. So come on over. It only costs $1 a month. Any contribution that you make is thoroughly appreciated. It really helps Cheat the Game tremendously. Even you coming to watch these videos and placing a like on it and letting me know your thoughts on the subject or anything also helps out tremendously. I really appreciate all of your support. Thank you all so much. Alright guys, I'm out of here. Next go around we're going to be talking about ways that we can convert an integer to a float value, to write a cap value to a current value, and we're going to be using this CPU stack and the FPU stack together, so that will be in the next lesson, probably be out next week, so stay tuned for that. Also go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, hit the little bell icon, make sure that you get up-to-date information on CTG, and I'll have the very latest info out for you in game hacks as well as tutorials. Thank you all so much. You all take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care now.